Coach Pip, a familiar face, right? Israel Hughes, Cottage Christian '05, and Northwest Mississippi '06 and '07. Man, it does not seem like it's been that long, huh? But it's been a nice little while, brother. Well, I just wanted to come and pay homage to you and your family and my respect, and also ask for your forgiveness for the oughts that I've held against you over the years, and some of which you probably knew, some of them you probably didn't know or probably didn't really think about or forgotten about. But as I began to mature, as the years went on and in life, I realized like quite a few things. But I'm gonna jump right into it, man. I got put out of LaFleur in high school. I had trouble at LaFleur, so I came to Cottage Christian, which I felt like was a great opportunity. I'm at a Christian-based facility around people that were more economically advanced than I was and what I was used to. The school was clean. It smelled good. I was not used to that. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be great. It's gonna be a phenomenal experience. And it was quite the opposite. Racism to the core, it just a lot of hate. It was not a Christian-based school. They had Christian-based concepts, but it was not Christian. The love of God was not with everybody there. And I hated that school. I hated it for a long time. And for so long, I didn't return back to the school. They used to send memos and mail and all that. But I finally went back a few years ago, and I stood in front of Ms. Greeno's class, and I spoke to the minorities in there as well as the whole class, and I learned that racism was still there. And I challenged the class and spoke about the stupidity, the ignorance, and the cowardism that comes with racism. And a lot of them with their bigotry and arrogance, they weren't really receptive. But I understood that. But I'm glad I had those experiences at Cottage Hill, because once I got to Northwest and I experienced racism with the police there, Officer Orso, and when I got to Commerce and experienced racism in regards to police and just teammates, I was able to handle it better. Had I not experienced that at Cottage Hill, I'm not really sure how I would have responded later on in life. Because at Cottage Hill, it was all rage, fight, throw chairs. But as I got older, it was like, it reminded me of a scripture. I think Paul say, so fight I, not as one that beateth the air. Like, because when you're fighting, you're throwing blows and you're hitting the air. You're not making people change when you're beating them up. But the nicer you are and the more people see the love of God in you, that pushes change. But I hated it, man. But my issue with you at Cottage Hill was I felt like you lied to me, and I felt like you took away opportunities. That was an all-star game I learned about on the day of the all-star game through one of the other students, asking me about Wilson Patrick. You're not at the all-star game? I'm like, nah, I know nothing about it. So I asked you about it. You told me you wanted me to focus on my grades and not worry about the all-star game. And that really upset me, because over time you can work on your grades. You take multiple assignments to bring grades up. You cannot recreate an all-star game. So that was a missed opportunity that I never got a chance to take advantage of. And it was at the University of Alabama. My understanding of recruiting now probably wouldn't have helped with the recruiting process, but it would have given me opportunities to meet different people, just more exposure to different things. I felt like that was snatched away, because that's just an experience to say, man, I played in the all-star game out of high school. Well, I didn't. I was nominated. I don't even have a list to show, a letter to show that I was nominated. So that really bothered me. In addition to that, with the teachers and administrators that were lying, Dr. Lang and all of them that would just lie, they were lying. And you would side with them with the lack of evidence showing what they were saying. And that really bothered me. That made me feel like, okay, you with the racist people, the people that really want to see me fail or whatever the case may have been. Because Dr. Lang and I had a lot of head bumps due to his misunderstanding of where I came from. And he would make statements that would be insults. And I know he didn't intend on them being insults, but his ignorance was just enormous. And he and I bumped heads a lot because of that. But anyway, after Cottage Hill, my dad said, hey, man, give Pip and them another chance. They elevating and they trying to build their resume, and they willing to help anybody that's willing to help them. So I go to Northwest. Get to Northwest, I get arrested, and I had this issue with the band director, which I didn't do nothing maliciously. I wrote the band director a note because of the music he was playing. It was not uplifting our spirits. We would be losing, and the songs would just be, So I wrote him a note. I put my name on there, and I thanked my number, so I wasn't hiding anything. Put that on there, and I slid it up on his door so he could contact me. So he went and reached out to you. And in addition to being arrested, you and I had a big falling out. We had a big issue. You called me a criminal, and that really ticked me off. And I snapped at you, and I apologize for that. But I was really offended. So you spoke to my dad about it. My dad was trying to get me back to Mobile, but Coach Cole, God bless Danny Ray. Danny Ray was convinced him to let me stay. Bishop let him stay, so he let me stay and just get the whole experience. But in that experience, I was surrounded by the most athletically gifted team I have ever seen in my life, and met a lot of guys, made a lot of connections, just met a lot of people, man. Through that. When I got in that trouble, I was kicked out of school. Obviously, couldn't come back to Northwest, but I would visit. And when I would visit, we'd play pickup games in front of the cafeteria, pickup game football. And I was recruited off of a game of two-hand touch by Tarleton State, by West Texas A&M, and by A&M Commerce. Chris Kershurk, who's been in the NFL for I think more than 10, 15 years, 10 years or so, and Joe Carter, who went to Valdosta State in 07 and won the national championship. Johnny Belt, who was at Northwest, wound up going down there winning it as well. They were my recruiters, and they brought me here to Commerce, and RJ Brisbane and twin Tremaine Williams, they ended up coming here, and we used to share the stories about how talented our team was at Northwest. Like, we should have never lost a game, and just so many circumstances that took place at Northwest, man. But even being at Northwest, I remember when I had the issue with the band director, Miss Pippin, man, such a sweet lady. I was in the stand, and she was like, well, the songs aren't terrible, you're not lifting us up. So you're right. And it made me feel real good because everything I was going through, she sided with me. And she was good for that. She would do that at Cottage Hill often. When I would get it, I remember the first game at Cottage Hill, I was suspended from a fight. 3 guys tried to jump me, and I was in the stands on a Friday night. My punishment was I was suspended for 3 days. I had to come to the game and cheer for the team. But she was such an encouragement, man. Your wife's such an encouragement, man. I mean, she's your backbone, and it showed. It showed even at Cottage Hill, especially at Northwest. Her support is outstanding, and it's obvious it still is, as well as the girls who are grown to be beautiful women. But when we came to Commerce, we would tell them about how talented the team was, and just all the circumstances that happened. And I purchased your book Chaos on Kindle, which I hate Kindle. I never do Kindle again, so I ordered the hard copy. Because I need to thumb through them pages, brother, to be able to look and see instead of just flipping through a touchscreen phone. I'm old school, man. I still got VHS tapes. You understand? So, looking at the book and reading the book, I realized, even you yourself, which was really cool, over the years, you've evolved. Coming into humility, evolving, saying in the book how you were hard-headed, trying to take on the offense, which you shouldn't have. And I was like, that takes a lot of humility to admit that. A lot of humility. Seeing that team we had, that team was so full of talent. Off of those 2 teams in 06, 07, you had 12, 13 guys play pro ball. I mean, just outstanding. I'm sure you've been a part of teams that were really talented, but as far as me, that was the most talent that I have ever been around on one team or 2 teams. Just outstanding. Freaks of nature. And just seeing that in the book and just reading, the circumstances and your interview in Waco at Baylor, and the coach telling you it's about the kids, and you realizing after all these years, it really is about the kid. And it takes evolution. It takes maturity to recognize things that you thought you recognized at first, because I'm sure you already felt yeah, it's about the kids. But when he said it, it was more profound. God opened up your understanding. There's a scripture that Jesus say, open he their understanding. Jesus had to provide, he has to open up the understanding. He has to provide understanding and wisdom. And all these years, you feeling like you understood, yeah, it's about the kids. But when he spoke, hey, Pippin, it's really about the kids. The Son of God, Jesus Christ, opened your understanding to really what he was talking about based on what I read in that book. And it was it really is about the kids. And just reading that book has been a humbling experience for myself, and just seeing that you were even more humble through it. It's been amazing reading that, man, and just applying a lot of the life applications and applying the lessons. I remember at Cottage Hill, a lot of things you said and taught I didn't understand because of the way you expressed it. And sometimes it seemed like you couldn't find the words to really express what you meant. And because you're coaching, man, it takes a lot of sanity. And I know, Miss Pippin, she played a vital and pivotal role in that, into your sanity, balancing you out. I remember a lot of the meltdowns, the breakdown you would have at Cottage Hill and at Northwest, and her being there, man, and of course, God himself and his son, Jesus Christ, it helped mellow you out to the magnitude that it did to keep you stable and kind of mellow-minded. You know, because I know it's frustrating. You see that amount of talent and you're still struggling. It's enough to really upset a whole lot of people. I mean, we played Colin. You know, we have this team full of talent. Colin, Steele, and Eric Nix are suspended from a fight that took place the year before. But we are killing them on defense, and we give up 3 long passes due to broken coverages, and we lose 21-7. They couldn't get past the 50. And I remember everybody else kind of, you know, we mingling outside of the bus. But I remember standing in front of the bus, seeing you on the bus in the first seat to the left with your head in your hands, like frustrated. And I'm like, man, because I snapped at halftime on the team because we were way more skilled than these guys, way more talented, and we were losing. And that was frustrating for me, but I was a player, but I wasn't really playing. I wasn't playing that year due to, I think, the confrontation you and I had, but also Buddy Stevens let the National Junior College Athletic Association know that I was out of district because he recruited me at Pearl River. And that's funny. Him and Ed Holly are coaching at East Mississippi. I saw the show, and Ed Holly was the defense coordinator who went the business for himself, which you referenced in the book, which is cool. But yeah, man, just being there is like, you know, seeing all that and experiencing all of that. It was like I knew it was frustrating, and to read that in the book, it was like, yeah, it confirmed it. And you know, your family provided that balance that you needed, that solidarity that you needed. And they've always been that. And it was so prevalent, always have been. All your daughters, all the players know them. They know all the players. They're around you. It's like a family-oriented environment. Like, no matter what level you've been on, you won 2 national championships. I knew of one. I didn't know all of them because you didn't carry that arrogance. Like, so, and it was like, hey, this is a family. I remember, I just thought about this. You remember, I'm sure you remember, USC beat Texas in the national championship. We watched it at your home in Senatobia, and I'm clowning. I'm, you know, getting on everybody. You know, I'm snapping because we made deals and all that. And you called me into your office the next day and was like, hey, this is not kind of chill. These guys will really fight you back. And I think you were concerned about me. You was probably, you know, scared because here I am, 5'8", $160, and this guy 6'5", 380. You understand? So, but it just showed a lot, but I think we really misunderstood a lot of each other. But I remember just a lot of things that you would share that I started understanding as time went on. I remember at Cottage Hill, you used to say the scripture, and you created a slogan off of it. It was, the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God. It was like, be bold, be courageous, you know. And I didn't quite understand that then. Also, Friday Night Lights, you read the book at that time, and we were supposed to watch the movie, go to the movies, but we was playing an away game. But you was talking about toughness, how somebody in the book exemplified toughness. I can't remember what happened. I think they broke some, but they still played. And you spoke about Ronnie Lott, you know, his finger, and just different lessons, man, that you would say. The running form, Drew. And we talked to a lot of us from Northwest. We created a group, and a lot of us have reconnected, man. But we talked about the running. A lot of stuff we felt like, man, that was a waste of time, but like the running program with the form running and all that, the emphasis on that was just amazing. And like I want to render my apologies for a lot of those outs that I held, and I later on understood, okay, we didn't understand each other, or even if I felt wrong, okay, you got to get past that. You know, like people make mistakes, people make errors, and reading your book can confirm that. And it was like, not only that, but myself, I lacked a lot of understanding, I lacked a lot of maturity. But as I start maturing, I start understanding a lot of the lessons that you taught, forgiving you and forgiving myself, you know, like how you evolve, I'm evolving. And because of you, I have to give my appreciation to you. I was able to go to Northwest because of you. And because of me going to Northwest, I end up at Texas A&M Commerce. And because of that, I have 2 beautiful kids. Had I not known you, never would have went to Northwest, never would have connected with all the guys that we talking about, a big reunion and sharing pictures. We a brotherhood, we brothers. It's like, oh man, how my nephew, how my niece, how my sister-in-law, not biologically, but through relationship, through the struggle, blood, sweat, and tears, cramps, Coach Cole ab workouts, you know, like through all of this. Guys that were kicked out of the school, some of them were wronged, but they were kicked out of the school. Some of them kicked out of the program. Some of them played, and so on and so on. It's like a huge reunion, and it's beautiful. And it's because of you, man. A lot of us recruited were recruited by you, brought in, and we met because of that. Me going to Commerce was because I went to Northwest and got noticed from a two-hand touch. Got to Commerce, met my children's mother, and had my kids. And since then, all the relationships that I formed after Cartachillo have been really due and credited heavily to God and the Son of God, of course, but also to you. Had I not gone to Cartachillo in Northwest, I wouldn't have ended up in Commerce. I wouldn't have had the success and failures I've had athletically. I wouldn't have connected with as many people as I have. I end up meeting Deion Sanders, who's I've always valued and loved this guy's game since I was little. I mimicked him, all of the shields and the net, all that stuff at Cartachillo that you used to talk about, and at Northwest. I got all of that pretty stuff from him, and he ran camps up here at Commerce. Had I not met you, had I not followed you, I would have never met this guy that I don't want to say I idolized, but I really looked up to. And, built a relationship with him and have developed a relationship with Malcolm Kelly, receiver at Oklahoma, just with a lot of different people that are famous and some of them not. A lot of people I've met and have strong relationships with was because I followed you. And I just want to say, I know this video is long. Just want to tell I appreciate you, Coach. I didn't want to call you and tell you this. I wanted you to have this on record. I can talk to you later on, but I want you to have this on record to reference and go back to and realize you've definitely impacted a knucklehead's life, and not just mine, but a lot of other people. Even if a lot of us don't quite understand what you did, a lot of us probably still hold grudges or hold oughts against you. When we look at it from a panoramic perspective and from like just a realistic point of view, you've helped us in a lot of ways. A lot of things that we didn't achieve was because of us. Had I been on my grades, probably would have never went to Northwest. Being at Cartachillo, I probably could have been off at another school. Being in Senatobia, had I done things the correct way, as well as many others, done things the correct way, a lot of things would have been different. And the discrepancies that you and I had would have still been discrepancies, but some of them wouldn't have happened, and some of them wouldn't even really matter. But I appreciate you, Coach. I appreciate your input, your implement, your sacrifice. I appreciate you for your vulnerability, making your family available. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Miss Pippen, I appreciate you. I know you're going to watch this. I appreciate you. I love you, man. All the encouraging words that you hit me with week after week. Highly, we used to have a handshake. You probably don't even remember. We used to have a handshake. And just, I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. From Israel Hughes signing off. Peace, love, and blessings to y'all. Church.